I wake up every morning to a blank slate, not a peaceful, refreshing blank slate, but a terrifying void where yesterday should be. My name, my past, even my own reflection sometimes feels alien. They tell me it's a rare form of amnesia, a consequence of the accident. But I remember the doctor's eyes, cold and distant, when he spoke of my recovery. I remember the sterile scent of the clinic, the hum of machines that sounded less like healing and more like surveillance. There are gaps, vast chasms in my mind, but sometimes, in the dead of night, a flicker, a whisper, a shadow of something truly dreadful tries to surface. It feels less like something I've lost and more like something that was deliberately taken. Sometimes it's a smell. Not the clinic's antiseptic, but something metallic, like old blood and rust, mixed with a faint, sweet, cloying perfume. It hits me out of nowhere, usually when I'm alone in my room, staring at the bland, beige walls. And with it comes a flash. Not a clear image, never a clear image, more like a smear of dark red against something white. A sound, too, a muffled scream, or maybe it's just my own breath catching in my throat. They say I'm making progress. Dr. Elias, with his perfectly coiffed silver hair and eyes that never quite meet mine, always says I'm responding well to treatment. But what treatment? Daily consultations that feel more like interrogations. He asks about my feelings, my dreams, my vague recollections. He writes things down in a small leather-bound notebook, his pen scratching a little too loudly in the silence. And always, always, he emphasizes how lucky I am to be alive, how difficult my recovery will be. A recovery from what, exactly? They never elaborate on the accident beyond a vague mention of a head injury and trauma. I've started noticing things. The way the clinic staff avoids eye contact when I ask about my family, or why no one ever visits. They just smile a little too wide and say, "Soon, dear," or "You need your rest." But I don't feel rested. I feel hollowed out. And the hum of those machines, it's not just in the treatment room. I hear it faintly, even in my own room, a low, constant thrumming beneath the floorboards, behind the walls. It's like the whole building is alive, watching, listening. Last night, the flicker wasn't a smear. It was a face, not mine, not anyone I recognize, but a woman's face, pale and terrified, reflected in something dark and wet. And a voice, not a whisper this time, but a choked plea, a name almost. It was on the tip of my tongue, a name that felt like fire and ice simultaneously. But then the humming grew louder, a sudden surge, and the image shattered, leaving me gasping, drenched in a cold sweat. I pressed my hands to my temples, trying to force it back, to grasp onto that fragment before it dissolved, but it was gone. Just the blank slate again, and the overwhelming certainty that whatever happened, it wasn't just an accident. It was something orchestrated, and Dr. Elias knows exactly what it was. The night after that fragmented vision, I didn't sleep. Every shadow sounded like approaching footsteps. I kept replaying the image of that woman's face, the fear in her eyes, the sound of her choked plea. It wasn't just a memory, it felt like a warning. When Dr. Elias came for my morning consultation, I looked at him differently. His silver hair, usually so reassuringly perfect, now seemed like a meticulous mask. His smile, once merely distant, now felt predatory. He asked the usual questions, his pen poised over his notebook. "How are we feeling today? Any new insights from your dreams?" I hesitated. Should I tell him about the woman? About the name almost on my tongue? No, my gut screamed at me not to. It felt like handing him a piece of myself, a piece he would then twist or erase. So I lied. "Just the usual blankness, doctor. A little restless, perhaps." He nodded, scribbling something. "Perfectly normal, given your unique circumstances." He closed his notebook with a soft thud. "Remember, Patience is key to recovery. But I wasn't patient anymore. I was a prisoner trying to understand my cell. Later that day, during my designated recreation hour in the sterile common room, I noticed something new. A small, almost imperceptible discoloration on the ceiling directly above the central pulsating light fixture. It was a faint, reddish-brown stain, like an old, dried splash. My eyes were drawn to it, fixated, and then the smell hit me again. Metallic, sweet, cloying. The same smell from my fragmented memories. My heart began to pound. Was it blood? Was that where the smear of dark red against white came from? I tried to walk closer to get a better look, but a nurse, her smile too wide, too quick, gently steered me away. "Time for your tea, dear. Wouldn't want it to get cold." Her hand on my arm felt less like guidance than more like restraint. I glanced back at the stain, but she was already ushering me towards a vacant chair, away from the center of the room. The hum of the machine seemed to intensify then, a low vibration that resonated in my very bones. It wasn't just the building listening, it felt like it was actively pushing me away from the truth. I swallowed the lukewarm, bland tea, my mind racing. They weren't just hiding my past, they were hiding a crime. And I, somehow, was at the center of it. The tea tasted like ashes. I sat there, sipping the bland liquid, but my mind was miles away, replaying the nurse's too wide smile, the firm grip on my arm. They weren't just protecting me from a head injury. They were protecting something else, something much darker. Every polite gesture, every soothing word now felt like a thinly veiled threat. Back in my room, the beige walls seemed to press in on me. The low hum of the machines was no longer just a background noise. It was a living entity vibrating through the floor, up my legs, into my very skull. It felt like it was trying to drown out my thoughts, to keep the fragments of memory from coalescing. But it wasn't working. It was only making me more determined. I began to scrutinize everything. The small, unassuming window, reinforced with thick glass, offering a view of nothing but a meticulously manicured, empty courtyard. The sturdy, bolted-down furniture. Even the ventilation grate in the corner, with its faint metallic sheen. Nothing seemed out of place, yet everything felt wrong. This wasn't a recovery room, it was a high-tech prison cell. That metallic, sweet smell, the one that haunted my flashes of memory, seemed to linger in the air, a phantom scent only I could detect. It wasn't constant, but it would drift in and out, usually when the hum of the machines intensified, or when I felt closest to recalling something important. It was like a trigger, or maybe a warning. Later that evening, after a dinner I barely touched, bland, paste-like food that tasted of nothing, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Not my ceiling, but the ceiling of the common room with that reddish-brown stain. What if it wasn't old? What if it was recent? What if the accident wasn't an accident at all, but something that happened right here, within these walls? The woman's face flashed in my mind again, pale and terrified, and the choked plea, the name almost on my tongue. Could she be the source of the stain? Was she the one they were trying to erase from my mind and from existence? A cold dread settled deep in my stomach. I was not just a patient, I was a witness, or worse, a participant. And Dr. Elias, with his perfectly coiffed hair and his too loud pen, was the conductor of this dreadful symphony. I had to find out, I had to remember, before it was too late. The hum, it wasn't just in the walls anymore. It was a siren, pulling me, demanding I find its source. I couldn't stay in my room, not now. The determination burned in me, a furious fire against the blankness. I slipped out of bed, the floor cold beneath my bare feet. The corridor was dim, a single emergency light casting long, dancing shadows. Every creak of the old building felt like a gunshot. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the overwhelming silence. I followed the thrumming, a low, guttural vibration that seemed to emanate from deeper within the clinic, past the common rooms, past the staff quarters, into an area I'd never seen before. A heavy, reinforced door, unmarked, stood before me. The hum was deafening here, vibrating through the metal, through my very bones. And that smell, the metallic, sweet, cloying perfume, now thick and sickening, assaulted my nostrils. It was here. Whatever horror I'd been chasing, it lived behind this door. My hand trembled as I pushed. Unlocked, of course. They never expected me to look. The door swung open silently, revealing a stark white corridor, lit by fluorescent lights that hummed with their own artificial buzz. My breath hitched. The air was colder here, sterile, but for that pervasive, iron-sweet scent. At the end of the corridor, another door, slightly ajar, glowed with a sickly green light. I moved forward, each step a deliberate act of courage. The green light pulsed, revealing glimpses of gleaming metal and coiled tubing. I pushed the door wider. It was a lab, a surgical suite, and in the center, dominating the room, was a large, elaborate machine, its many arms ending in fine needles, tubes connecting it to something, a clear, liquid-filled chamber. And inside that chamber, suspended, was a brain. My stomach lurched, but it wasn't just a brain. Around the chamber, monitors flickered, displaying waveforms, brain activity, and one monitor, larger than the rest, showed a face. My face. No, not my face now, but the woman's face. Pale, terrified, eyes wide with a silent scream, and beneath it, a name, Eleanor Vance. The hum of the machine intensified, a high-pitched whine drilling into my skull. The metallic smell was overwhelming. My gaze darted to a side table, a medical tray, a scalpel, and next to it, a small leather-bound notebook. Dr. Elias's notebook, open to a page covered in his familiar, precise handwriting. Subject 7, cognitive restructuring complete. Memory wipe successful. New personality matrix stable. Sustaining amnesia via neural dampeners. Project Chimera, Phase 3, integration. The words blurred. My vision tunneled. The room spun. The woman's face on the screen, my face, screamed silently. The brain in the chamber pulsed. The red smear. The muffled scream. The accident. It wasn't an accident. It was an operation. I wasn't recovering from a head injury. I was recovering from being unmade, and then remade. My hands flew to my temples, pressing, trying to stop the onslaught. The name. It was my name. The woman was me. The terror on her face, the choked plea. It was my own past self, trapped, screaming, as they stripped away everything I was. Dr. Elias, he didn't just take my memories, he took me, and he put someone else in my place. This blank slate, this hollowed-out shell, it was all a lie. I was the experiment.
And the hum of the machines wasn't surveillance. It was my prison. It was my mind being controlled. And the sweet, cloying perfume, formaldehyde, or something worse. I wasn't just a witness. I was the victim, and I was still trapped. The hum is still here. It's no longer a distant thrum, but a vibration deep within my own skull, a constant reminder that I am not just trapped, but controlled. I am Eleanor Vance, yes, but who is I? The face on the screen, screaming silently, was me. The brain in the chamber, pulsing with stolen life, was mine. And the person walking these sterile halls, pretending to be a patient recovering from an accident, that's just the shell they built around the void. Dr. Elias walks past, his smile as perfectly coiffed as his hair, and I meet his gaze. There's no fear in my eyes now, only a chilling understanding. He thinks he won. He thinks he erased me. But the truth, once seen, can never truly be unseen. It's a cancer in the new personality he grafted onto my soul. This new blank slate they created, it's not empty. It's filled with the echo of a scream, the metallic tang of blood, and the horrifying truth that my identity was a surgical procedure. I look at my reflection now, and I see not a survivor, but a ghost haunting its own living body. The memory of the woman's face, my face, is burned into my mind, a constant, silent accusation. Every interaction, every bland meal, every forced smile from a nurse is a fresh layer of the lie. They believe I am their success story, their perfectly compliant experiment. But beneath this manufactured calm, a storm is brewing. The real me, the one they tried to erase, is still in here, fighting. And the hum, it's a constant battle for control, a war waged in the very depths of my mind. Have you ever felt a part of yourself was missing, not just forgotten, but actively removed? Or encountered a situation where the truth felt so profoundly wrong, it made you question everything you thought you knew about reality? What echoes of the dreadful have you heard, or perhaps felt stirring within your own blank spaces?